AITA for wanting to divorce my husband because he's unemployed even though money is no issue for me. We've been married for 11 years. M37, F33. He has always wanted to work independently. He has no career but works in construction because he's not comfortable in office jobs, and frankly, he's not good at them either. He never quit any job, but he did not particularly enjoy working, arguing that the pay was too low. He always told me that if I let him work independently, he'd be happier and earn more money. When the last company he worked for shut down, I finally got tired of forcing him to work office jobs and told him that he could do whatever he wanted. It's important to mention that when we met, we were contributing 50-50. Then I grew in my career and he didn't, so it became 75-25, by his request, obviously. 2 years ago, when he had his last job, he said he could only contribute with basic services, while I paid the mortgage, vacations, and a part of the food. In these 2 years, he had his share of small projects, but his money eventually ran out, and last month he told me he couldn't contribute anything anymore. I know starting a business takes time, but he just doesn't seem any good at it. He does not know how to look for clients. He's slow. He's a bad organizer. He's bad with people. The only thing he's good at is manual things. In the course of all these years, he gradually bought tools for carpentry and has made furniture, but it just does not sell. All the clients he has had are my friends or my family. In 2 years, he did not have any independent clients. I'm just so tired of helping him. First to find jobs, now to find clients and close the deals. Last time, about a month ago, he told me he could not contribute anything anymore because he was trying to grow his business. I blew up at him and told him to get a normal job because clearly his little venture was not working. He behaved like a little child, blaming me for not supporting him and telling me that these things take time. Maybe he's right about one thing. I have friends who are architects and they work independently, but I think that if you fail basic adulting, there's no way you could start a business. He also acted very resentful because sometimes I take trips alone and buy nice and expensive stuff for myself, while in his words, he doesn't even have money for a new pair of shoes. But I don't feel bad at all because I earned my money and I get to spend it how I want. I've also invited him to many vacations. I don't always go alone, but obviously I don't buy him clothes, and the food I buy is sometimes only enough for me. I know some of you would say that's shitty, but what am I supposed to do? Support a healthy grown man who made bad decisions? Setting aside finances, we're very compatible, love, and are attracted to each other. He has no vices, is not a drunk, no drugs, is faithful, likes spending time with family. He does a lot of stuff in the house, and I don't have to do anything for him. Cook, wash clothes, all of it he does by himself and sometimes for me. But it seems like money is just something that makes us both awful to each other. I could make a massive effort and cope with the fact that he'll always be a financial deadweight, but it just seems like this is becoming worse than everything good in our 15, 11 married and 4 relationships, years of knowing each other. Should I just sock it, enjoy the good things, and cope with the fact that he'll never contribute anything financially? Many women are SAHMs, contribute close to nothing, but this just seems different in a bad way. Because he's a man? AITA, before you say it, he doesn't want to go to therapy. He probably has undiagnosed ADHD, and we have a prenup. So if we divorce, he goes back to mommy's house without a dime. The house is in my name only. Cars are in my name as well. No kids. I'm not sure I want to go through a very painful divorce because of this, but the way things are worsening is becoming intolerable. AITA for refusing to let my mother-in-law redecorate our nursery. So I, 26F, am currently 32 weeks pregnant with mine and my husband Felix's 27M first child. Things have been going well, and one of the great things is that Felix is a builder, and so everything with the nursery went pretty smoothly pretty fast. We agreed at the start what kind of vibe we wanted to go with it, and it's pretty much already done. Figured that we'd get it sorted as soon as possible, so it wasn't another thing to worry about later. My mill has always been a bit of a nightmare, but has been better since the news that I'm pregnant, though not without issue. For example, she told me that I should lose some weight and that it wasn't healthy for me or the baby. She knows that I used to struggle with anorexia, and I'm not any sort of unhealthy weight. In the past, I've kept my mouth shut and let Felix deal with her. As the nursery has almost been completed, she suddenly decided to invite herself around more. I work from home currently. She comes in on the regular, asks me when I'm going to have lunch, and, oh, could you just pop me something in too? And then we'll wander into the nursery and start rearranging things. I know this sounds stupid, but once she literally bought an IKEA bag full of stuff that she put in there, it doesn't match. But I've never said anything really beyond, oh, thanks so much for the thought, etc. Yesterday, when she came around uninvited, she looked me up and down and said, really? Joggers? Thank God Felix isn't here. And then walked into the nursery and started asking me where the pillow she'd put in the crib had gone, why I'd taken out the fairy lights hanging on the wall right by it, etc. I explained that they were potential safety hazards to the future baby and that I'd taken them out. She started with, oh, well, I've had 3 children, and I really think you should take more of my advice, and then looked me in the eyes and said, you're really not going to be a good mother at this rate. I don't know if it was the pregnancy hormones, but I just stared at her for a moment and then told her to get out of the house. I'd been up all night and had loads of work and wasn't in the mood. She got very uptight about it and then left. Felix says he's going to talk to her and tell her that she shouldn't be reorganizing anything without our permission. But I don't know if it was just the hormones and I'm being unreasonable. AITA, AITA for fainting at my aunt's wedding and ruining it? I, 21F, attended my aunt's wedding a few weeks ago. I was not part of the wedding, just a guest, which I was fine with. Before the wedding, everyone was advised to drink lots of water and eat beforehand because it was going to be extremely hot that day. The wedding started at 5 p.m., and I had absolutely nothing to eat or drink up until then, except maybe a granola bar, because I was extremely busy that day. So when it was time for the wedding, I was already tired and hungry. About 30 minutes into the wedding, which was at a church BTW, I was feeling uneasy and lightheaded, so I excused myself to go to the washroom. As I was walking, I got that feeling like I was about to collapse. The next thing I can remember was coming to and see lots of people surrounding me, including the bride and groom. Apparently, when I fainted, I fell into the photographer who was crouched down near me. Not only that, but he dropped the camera lens down and it broke. To be honest, I don't even remember seeing the photographer, but I may have been too dizzy or something to have seen him. The wedding was a bit of a cheaper one, so the photographer was a family friend of the groom's who only had one camera with him. The bride was just in tears that she won't have any good pictures from her wedding. The photographer insisted that he could drive home and grab a different one, but it would take too long. The bride was indeed mad at me, but I feel it was a bit harsh as it was extremely embarrassing for me already. Fainting never even crossed my mind as something that would happen at all. They did get pictures, but they were on cell phones. AITA,